All right, cool. So now we are looking at our comps chart, and we're going to not only find our implied price per share based on these multiples, PE, EV to EBITDA, EV to EBIT, but we're also going to make charts showing how Walmart stacks up against its competitors. What you're saying with comps is my company should be trading at approximately the same multiple as these very similar companies, i.e. my comps. And so if your company's value slash profitability metric is below an industry median, you're saying your company is undervalued by the market because, imagine if that profitability metric or value goes up to your competitor's value, then it will bring up the value of your current company. If your company's value slash profitability metric is above an industry median, you're saying that it's overvalued. You want to be above industry median for things like ROE and ROA, because that's saying, you're better using equity or you're better using your company's assets. When building comps for pitches, you kind of want to look at where your company is trading relative to peers and ask yourself, is where they're trading justified or not justified? If you don't think a company is justified to be trading below their competitors, then there's definitely, a pretty strong argument that they could be undervalued. But, for example, thinking about, Smith pitch from last year, comparing Coca-Cola and Pepsi, Coca-Cola trades at a higher multiple than Pepsi. You might be like, oh, well, on the surface, that means Coca-Cola is overvalued. But, given Coca-Cola's brand image and, the strength of the company as a whole, it's a better, stronger, more international company, higher margin company than Pepsi. You'd be like, hey, that makes sense. Coca-Cola should be trading at a higher multiple than Pepsi. And if it wasn't, you might be a little worried because Coca-Cola has traditionally traded at a higher multiple than Pepsi. But, just got off a little off track there. So back to our comps. We're going to calculate an implied price per share. So for these comps, I think I said this before, but you want to select your comparable companies based on, something like industry. So Walmart, you would choose other consumer, Walmart's consumer discretionary, right? Or is it staple?
Yeah, it's discretionary, but like there's an argument there for staple as well. But yeah, it's discretionary.
Yeah, so you want to choose other companies in the consumer discretionary sector. You want to choose companies with similar geography. So, American companies, similar size. You don't want to choose a company that has, like 100 billion market cap and then one that has like 100 million market cap. Those are two completely different companies. But here, we gave the comps to you to make it easier. In reality, though, you want to, go on Facts that are Cap IQ and look at the comparables they give because those are kind of the experts. And you don't want to take them for granted. You want to look into each of those comparables and, read into the financials, read into all these metrics that we just talked about that you select based on and figure out like, hey, like, does this company actually warrant to be a comparable? But cool. So, finding a price target for your comps. So let's start out with PE. So our implied price per share using PE, we're going to say, so PE is, as we asked in your Apollo interviews, price over earnings per share. So if we multiply this price over earnings per share by earnings per share, the EPS and the EPS is going to cancel out and it's going to leave us with an implied price. Cool. So we're going to take our median PE and we are going to multiply this, go over to Walmart's income statement, my bad, by their diluted earnings per share. I believe this is the most recent year. Yeah, so that's the last 12 months. Hit enter. And that's going to get us our implied price per share using median PE multiple. EV to EBITDA. We're going to take this median multiple, and we're going to multiply that by Walmart's most recent EBITDA. For this, we can go to our model, look at our 2020 EBITDA. And so, what that does is it gets us our enterprise value. But now, like we did in the free cash flow model, we want to get to equity value. In order to do this, we are going to have to subtract out our net debt number.
You had your assumptions right there, bro.
Sorry?
You had in your assumptions on that same comps page.
Oh, sweet. Cool. So our net debt number is that minus our cash. And so now we're at equity value. The last thing we have to do is divide this by diluted shares outstanding to get to our equity value per share. Put that all in parentheses and then divide by our shares outstanding. Cool. So $100 implied price per share using just an EV to EBITDA multiple. EV to EBIT now. Median 13.1 times. Multiply that. Go back to our free cash flow model. We have EBITs right here. We're going to go to our most recent one, 2020. Cool. And again, we're going to subtract out net debt, which is that minus our cash, and put all that in parentheses. Ooh, my bad. Put all that in parentheses and then divide all that by our shares outstanding, $84.51. So, obviously this is far off from Walmart's current share price, but, considering that Walmart trades at higher multiples than its competitors, thinking about Walmart's P, it's 27.0 times to a median of 14.7 times. If you, use a 14.7 times multiple on Walmart's EPS, it's going to be a lot lower. Whereas you use a 27, it's going to be a lot higher. So, the question you have to ask yourself is, does Walmart, deserve to trade more closely in line with its competitors, or does it deserve a premium? And that's kind of, up to you to decide that. The main thing, though, is you have to have all right, so realized I made a quick mistake here. Nothing material, but given that we have all our assumptions right here, there's no reason for us to be linking this to other tabs when we can link it to all these assumptions. I'm going to delete this right here. And so our implied price per share, we're going to take, as I said before, that median PE. We're actually going to multiply that by our net income. That's going to get us our equity value, which we're then going to divide by shares outstanding. $93.02 is our implied price per share. EV to EBITDA, we're going to take our median, multiply by the EBITDA that's already given here, subtract our net debt. And then obviously we have to divide all that by our shares outstanding. And we'll do a similar thing for EV to EBIT. Take our median. Start this with an open paren. Take our median, multiply that by our EBIT. That's our most recent EBIT. And then subtract out our net debt again to get our equity value. And then divide that by our shares outstanding to get our equity value price per share. Nice. So for our price target, it's not that important here. But what we're gonna do is go into CapIQ and figure out what analysts, the experts think Walmart should be trading at. And we're gonna put that in here. And it's mainly just kind of to give us a reference point. It's not gonna really affect our model at all. But when presenting these findings to someone, it gives us a reference point. Another thing to base our implied valuation range off of. We're not looking for a specific number, as we said before. We're looking for a range of values that we think Walmart should trade in. So let me pull up CapIQ. You can see this still, right? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go into CapIQ here. And there should be directions on that direction sheet we send to you to figure out how to log into CapIQ. But I'm going to go to Walmart. And then I think it's either, no, it's CapIQ estimates. And right here, it tells you target price by analyst, the median, the high, and the low. So what we're looking for is this median. That's what the middle of all the analysts think is. So it's 149.00. So I'm going to just hard code this in there, 149.00. And obviously, remember what we do when we hard code. I'm going to change this color. Where's the blue? Do you know what the blue is, Yash?
I'm not sure what the exact one is, but you can just do the format. You can just do Control-C, Alt-ES format.
So I can't find the blue exactly. What I can do is I know this is the right blue, so I'll Control-C and then do Alt-ES T. And obviously that looks weird now. So I'm gonna have to change all this back.
You need number formats, I think.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna go in here actually and go to more colors and should tell me. So this is 00255. So I'm just gonna replicate that down here. More colors, custom 00255. And there's my blue. For this, I'm just going to copy it across because it's the same for each one. Our current share price is on our first assumptions page right here. And I can go back into that, F2 and then F4, that hard codes it, bring that across. And again, remember our formula for implied premium or discounts equals open parentheses, current share price, or my bad, implied price minus current share price divided by current share price. That's an implied premium should be.
Yeah, because
you're. Is that right?
Yeah, because your current.
Saying it's an implied discount.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're saying.
Wait, let me look at the formula one more time. So it should be price implied. Let me redo this. So price implied is that minus our current share price divided by our current share price.
The parentheses got switched. The parentheses before were on the premium. Now they're on the discount.
Okay.
Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. So I think this is wrong. I think the discount should be positive, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So there's a little mistake here, just to fix this for y'all in order to have consistency. The discount is positive. The premium would be negative. And so right here, obviously it's negative, so we have a premium. what I can then do is control copy and bring that across, and it calculates our premiums, and then it also brings that border over. Cool. So we found our price target for comps. Now we want to visualize this because the best way to convey data is through a visualization, through a chart or a graph. We're going to create a chart, and we would do that for our PE, our EV to EBITDA, and our EV to EBIT. Right here, we already have our PE one. And what we're saying here, so we're making a bar for each of Walmart's competitors and Walmart's. We're selecting the ticker that we want to represent here, or selecting the multiple we want to represent here. That's right up here, the PE. And we want to make Walmart's bar a different color than these, so we can tell, you know, what we're comparing Walmart to. And then you want to choose like a minimum and maximum that makes sense. You know, obviously we don't want this as like 100 because it's going to make these look really small. It looks good right now with the 45. You know, it kind of shows up, it takes up all the space. Cool. So yeah, if you were to add this to an actual pitch book, you know, thinking back to the Rosetta Stone pitch that Brad showed in the beginning, or just like any stock pitch, you would want to add a line showing median. So our median right here would be the 14.7 times. This is something you would do in PowerPoint, by the way. So we won't do this for you, but we just want to explain it. You would add a line right about there. And so someone, you know, looking at this would visually see, hey, the median's, you know, right here. Walmart's bar goes, you know, pretty far above that. You know, could that imply that Walmart's overvalued? Yes, it could. Maybe, you know, there's a reasoning Walmart's above that. That's all up for discussion, but you're just trying to show, you know, what it means numerically right here. But we're not only going to do this with PE, we'll also do this with EV to EBITDA and EV to EBIT, because all these multiples, you know, can imply different things about Walmart and its competitors. In order to replicate this chart, I'm going to do right click, copy, and then I'm going to click over here, paste this, and then I'm going to try to bring it in line. I just want to label this as EV to EBITDA. And then cool. So in order to do this, so currently, you know, this is my x-axis, my list of companies, and this is my y-axis, the actual multiple. The easiest way to do this is by just picking that up and dragging it right over. And now this shows my EV to EBITDA. Excel is very smart here. It, you know, adjusts my minimum and maximum Y values already, and I have my EV to EBITDA. The last thing we'll do here is control copy, and we'll do the same thing for EV to EBIT. I'm going to bring it down here so it's kind of online. We will label it EV to EBIT. My bad. And again, click on it right there, and all we have to do, my bad, click on it again. All we have to do is bring that over. And now we have our EV to EBIT, and you do the median line just as you would for all these. And where these would go is, you know, if you're doing a pitch book, you'd have a slide for comps, and you would show all these comp charts there and explain, you know, as I said before, your rationale for whether you think your company that you're pitching is undervalued or overvalued. Cool. So yeah, that concludes our DCF lesson. You know, as you can see, you know, thinking back on when I first did a DCF, I was extremely confused. It all didn't really make any sense. There's so many moving parts, and it was hard to follow along. The reason we did this video is because we wanted you to, you know, we know everyone moves at different pace, and we wanted you to be able to pause, rewind, and However long it takes you to learn it. There's no, maximum time limit because you can replay this video as many times as necessary. So that's kind of what we're, expecting here. We're going to send out this materials. We're going to include the video, the blank model, the finished model, and then we're going to include the directions. And we want you to go through the directions and have the video pulled up at the same time and try to follow along. If you can, the best way to do this would be to, follow along with the directions and try to do each step individually, and then go back, watch the video, see what you may or may have done wrong, and then go back and fix your mistakes there. But yeah, in terms of that, we'll send this video out after the meeting on Tuesday. And you'll have a full week to, complete the DCF and get ready for the next class on Tuesday. And so instead of, wasting your time, rushing through a DCF in class because it's very hard to learn this in one class session, we want you to learn it ahead of time and then come prepared with questions you may have. And hopefully your questions are more related to, the theoretical side of the DCF, like why do we use a WAC? Like what is a WAC? Why do we use specific comps, et cetera? Rather than us, trying to walk through like how to type in a specific formula or something, because that's, kind of the point of the video here. But yeah, that's all I have. Thank you so much for, taking the time to learn this. I guess, Yesh, do you want to close things off?
Yeah. So everything that Jacob said was spot on. I'd echo the same things. First learning it was a headache. It just takes time, repetition. And that's another thing. Because you have access to these videos now, redoing this over and over will only help you. I don't think of it as like it's a one-time thing and then I understand it. Multiple repetitions will help you get the flow of the DCF and what's the kind of the steps that you take. And that's the point of the kind of the directions, is to kind of go about the steps and watch the video and definitely try to break it into chunks. It's definitely a certain order that you go about it to kind of make it make sense. And that's kind of what the purpose of the steps were in this kind of like video, to walk you through. And like Jacob said, come prepared with questions. It's going to be a lot at first, but like I said, just break it down and you guys got this. But thank you for taking the time, and look forward to talking about this in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks everyone.